Yes, they call us. And anybody else that wants to join me, come on out.
No.
Don't mess with me. No jokes.
Good morning. Good morning. We are going to open with a song, De Coloris, which is in the pink book on page 46. Page 46. Our musician today is Gene Heinrich, and we just had the impromptu First D chorus. Welcome to First Existentialist Congregation of Atlanta. We are a spiritual community, philosophically based on existentialist and feminist principles, and dedicated to human liberation and protection of the natural world. We make our spiritual home in the old stone church, which was hand-built by an African-American Antioch East Baptist Church over 100 years ago. We acknowledge that racial hostility drove those African-Americans from the area, and we honor them and the powerful history of this place. We also acknowledge that in the 1800s, the Muskogee Creek people were driven from the land, and we support justice for all indigenous people. My name is Libby Ware, and I will be your facilitator for today. Our opening words are from William Blake. To see a world in a grain of sand, and heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. And what a beautiful display of the natural world. Thank you.
Happy spring now.
Yes, happy spring. It's trying to come.
It is.
Do we have any people who are here for the first time, or maybe you've been gone for a while? If you'll raise your hand, I'll call on you, and then you can tell us your name and how you found out about us. Yes.
Good morning. I'm Sarah here. I'm visiting my mom here from the other Georgia in Eastern Europe.
Oh, welcome, Sarah. Yes.
I'm Wayne Winstead, and I live in Decatur, and I'm a friend of Leon and Lewis.
Welcome. Okay, anyone else? Yes.
My name is Harrison. Anyway, it's after it's our first time here.
Welcome. Okay. Okay, if you'd like to know more about us, on your program, there's a connection card. You can fill that out, and if you have an interest in any of the guilds, you can indicate that. And if you give us your email, then you will get an update of what's happening every week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here who has a birthday or an anniversary you'd like to be sung to? Wade, are you coming forward? All right. Wade and Cindy Lou. So birthdays? Yes. 75. Okay. So happy birthday to Wade. La 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 la. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Wade. Happy birthday to you.
I'm 66 and glad to be here.
Hey. La, 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 la. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Did y'all color coordinate your outfits today?
Yeah, we called this morning. You know, it's spring birthday.
Okay, Okay, we're going to have another congregational song, and this one is in the folder, the new one. And in here, they're alphabetical. This one's in a B. So we're going to sing Blue Skies. Stand. If anyone has any community announcements, I should have asked for these earlier. As Patton is doing back there, there are some note paper. You can write them down and bring them up to me. Normally, this is the time when we would have comments from our fellowship minister, Marcia Missionary. Marcia will not be here today. She is traveling to visit her brother who is in hospice. So, send warm thoughts to Marcia. I'm going to go ahead and have the time of silence, and then I'll read the community announcements afterwards, because it looks like people are still working on them. So let's take 5 minutes where you can sit quietly. Have a time where we can share our joys and sorrows and
and I wrote. It's actually in our songbook if you want to read along. Those of you that read music will notice I'm not playing it like I wrote it.
And what's the name of it, Jean?
Sheltering Place.
Okay, and it's in the new binder.
There must be a sheltering place for weary souls. There must be a river that sings life back to bones. There must be a waterfall that splashes the body. There must be a rainbow when the sun crosses the mist. I am a rainbow. I am a waterfall. I am a river. I am a sheltering place. Must be a sheltering place for weary souls. Must be a river that sings life back to bones. There must be a waterfall that splashes the body. There must be a rainbow when the sun touches the mist. I am a river. I am a waterfall. I am a rainbow. I am a sheltering place.
That was beautiful. Our music minister, Jean Heinrich, give her a hand. I am pleased to announce our speaker for the day, Reverend Clymore. Leon says that he has wandered for 86 years, and good things have happened to him in this journey. The best things have been a wonderful life of 63 years. Let me repeat that. 63 years. That is amazing. 3 great adult children, 7 beautiful grandchildren, and some spiritual and philosophical growth along the way. Leon has had 4 careers: Christian missionary, pastor, computer programmer, and addictions counselor. But his part-time job of teacher of English to immigrants was the most fun. He has gone from fundamentalist Christian to evangelical to liberal Christian to agnostic atheist. He is currently the co-chair of the board, a member of the Social Justice Guild. I really enjoyed getting to know Leon on the Social Justice Guild. So please join me in welcoming Reverend Leon Clymore.
Introduction was oldish. I'm now 88. We've been together 65 years. Good to be here. Thanks to the program program deal for asking me to speak. I'm too old to be speaking, but I keep on trying. I'm glad my wife Lou is here with me today, with us. I'm glad our good friend Wayne Grinstead is here with us today, too. Wayne has made a great contribution to the life of Oakhurst Baptist, and for 20-some years has led a delegation from Oakhurst Baptist to go to Cuba, and they have formed sister church relationships with progressive Baptists there in Cuba, and it's been a wonderful thing for the congregation and for all of us who participated. Lou and I have been 5 times ourselves. Okay. In the Christian world, this is Palm Sunday, a week before Easter. What's Palm Sunday about? While the Bible isn't often featured in our services, I would like to read from Mark 11 that will tell us what happened on Palm Sunday and the following 2 days of the week of Passover. 3 things will be mentioned that I will comment on. See if you can identify those 3 things that Jesus is said to have done. Mark 11. When they were approaching Jerusalem at Bethphage and Bethany near the Mount of Olives, he sent 2 of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' just say this, 'The Lord needs it and will send it back immediately.'" They went away and found a colt tied near a door outside in the street. They went, and as they were untying it, some of the bystanders said to them, "What are you doing untying the colt?" They told them what Jesus had said, and they allowed them to take it. Then they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their cloaks on it, and he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, and others spread leafy palm branches that they had cut in the fields. Then those who went ahead and those who followed were shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our ancestor David. Hosanna in the highest heaven." Then Jesus entered Jerusalem and went into the temple. And when he had looked around at everything, it was a bit late, so he went out to Bethany with the 12. On the following day, when they came from Bethany, he was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went to see whether perhaps he could find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. He said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard it. Then they came to Jerusalem. And he entered the temple and began to drive out those who were selling and those who were buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. He was teaching and saying, "Is it not written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." And when the chief priests and the scribes heard it, they kept looking for a way to kill him, for they were afraid of him, because the whole crowd was spellbound by his teaching. And when evening came, Jesus and his disciples went out of the city. In the morning, as they passed by, they saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. Then Peter remembered and said to them, Rabbi, look, the fig tree that you cursed has withered. Well, rather interesting passage. Let's see what we can find there. What are the three things that Jesus does? One, he leads a procession outside of Jerusalem toward the walls of the city. The people are shouting and waving palm branches, and Jesus is riding on a young donkey. Two, he does a symbolic cleansing of the temple. Three, he curses a fig tree for not having any figs, and it dies. Over 1 billion Christians in our world believe that these three events are historical, actual events in the life of Jesus. I see it a little differently, and I'll tell you why. While I'm not a scholar, I have devoted myself to studying the Bible and the interpretation of the Bible for 60 years.
Whoa.
My love of biblical interpretation led me to 1 E. For good or for bad. As a Christian missionary and pastor, I have preached about Palm Sunday many times. Today, in thousands of churches, hundreds of thousands, preachers will be saying that Jesus, a Palestinian Jew from Nazareth, came to Jerusalem to claim his rightful place as King of the Jews and the long-awaited Messiah. But they will say that he's a humble king, riding a colt of a donkey instead of a mighty war horse. Nowadays, as an agnostic atheist, I question if any of these events actually happened. The author of the book called Mark is an unknown author who lived and wrote about the year 70 CE. He was not an eyewitness of these events. He gathered oral and written stories about Jesus some 40 years after Jesus had died. He had no way of knowing which stories he came across were historical and which were fictitious, so he wrote them all down. I question if the Jesus-led procession actually happened, because the Romans would not have allowed it. Next to the wall around the temple was a Roman fortress called Antonia. The Romans ruled with an iron hand over all their territories, but especially over Palestine, because the Jews were a very difficult people to control. The Romans were on high alert at every Passover time, for it was a time for Jewish nationalism to reach a fever pitch. Remember that Passover was a festival of liberation from an earlier empire. Such a procession would have definite political overtones and would have indicated that an insurrection was likely to happen. Jesus would have been arrested immediately, in my opinion. There's another reason I doubt this story is historical. One of the distinctive features of the very early Christian movement was for them to look into the Hebrew scriptures, what Christians call the Old Testament, and find texts there that foretold the coming of a great leader, a Messiah, who would totally reverse the political and religious order of things. Then, persons would make up stories about Jesus in which he did those very actions, thus proving that he was indeed the Messiah of the Jewish people. For example, Zechariah 9 says, "Lo, your king comes to you. Triumphant and victorious is he, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Then Mark, or somebody else, probably made up the story of Jesus doing the very same thing. Making up stories about Jesus' actions and superpowers seems inappropriate and dishonest to us today, but seems to have been acceptable and common in ancient times. The so-called cleansing of the temple is questionable to me. This demonstration by Jesus probably never happened. Besides, there was nothing wrong with selling animals for sacrifice in the temple area, nor changing of Roman coins into Jewish money so that they could offer unpolluted money in the temple. All this activity took place in the court of the Gentiles, not in the worship area of the temple. The quote from the Hebrew Scriptures about their making the temple a den or hideout of robbers is not referring to having merchants of animals and money changers in the temple. The Jewish prophet Jeremiah was writing that the people made the temple into a den of robbers by their way of living immorally and unjustly, and then believing that going to the temple would cover up for their lifestyle. Here Jeremiah says what he thinks God is saying to them. "Will you steal, murder, commit adultery, swear falsely, and then come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, 'We are safe,' only to go on doing all these abominations? Has this house, which is called by my name, become a den of robbers in your sight?" As a reformer of Judaism, Jesus did not put much focus on temple, sacrifices, priests, rituals, laws. His focus was on spiritual renewal, our values, how we treat people. As a reformer of Judaism, Jesus, I already said that. The cursing of the fig tree because it had no figs when Jesus was hungry is a weird story. I'm convinced it's not his story. Mark noted that it wasn't even the season for figs. Kind of makes Jesus look bad. It sounds to me like a fictitious story to show Jesus' miraculous power, which I don't think he had. In the four Gospels of the Christian Bible and many other Gospels that did not make it into the canon of approved scriptures, Jesus does many miracles. He heals withered hands, heals blind people, raises dead people to life, turns water into wine, walks on water, stills a storm, takes a boy's lunch, and multiplies the bread and fish to feed thousands. In one gospel, at 5 years of age, Jesus is playing in the water making mud sparrows. He then claps his hands and shouts, "Be gone!" And the sparrows fly away. There are many such stories in these early Gospels. Fictitious stories, of course. The Bible is full of stories that could not actually happen, but are told as though they did happen. This is one reason I no longer believe in the Bible as a revelation of God, but rather a very human book that contains a mix of beautiful stories and values and horrible stories and values and some silly stories. Like all human stuff. If you're a person who believes in science and the natural laws of our universe, you probably don't believe in miracles. Stories of miracles help to present Jesus as a superhero. Superheroes are a big part of our culture, aren't they? Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Superwoman. Humans have a long history of putting their hopes in superheroes, especially in chaotic times, fearful times of change. We think we need a strong leader who will set things right, bring order, unity, peace. Is America looking for a strong man, a superhero? Does this explain what has happened to us as a nation in the past few years? But we don't need superheroes doing miraculous things. We need good, ordinary humans with good human values, showing us how to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, living lives of kindness and justice and compassion, tolerance and respect. I believe that the story of the humble Jesus of Nazareth, told and retold with additional imaginary stories, legends, and myths added to impress people with his true greatness and importance, evolved into the Jesus Christ of the New Testament. This Jesus Christ is presented as miracle worker, healer, Messiah, Son of God, God himself, Lord of lords, King of kings, creator of the universe, reigning in heaven on a great throne next to God the Father. I wish they hadn't done that to him. Just allow Jesus to be a regular human being, a charismatic teacher who cared a lot about people and wanted all of us to care about people. All religions, I believe, are man-made. Even God has been made in man's image. And religions evolve. The Christianity led by James, the brother of Jesus, was very different from the Christianity of Paul some 20 or 30 years later. The Roman Catholicism that ruled Europe for centuries was very different from the Jesus movement. Christian nationalists today in the United States worship the superhero Jesus Christ, but I wonder about how they're following the human Jesus. The focus of Christian nationalists is on getting government power to enforce their ideological views as laws of the land, to get government money to pay for religious education, to abolish abortion as a form of health care, to ban books that are critical of our political and moral behavior in the past, such as the ethnic cleansing of the indigenous peoples and the robbing of their lands and culture, the enslaving of millions of African peoples and imposing on them 100 years of ugly, vicious, violent Jim Crow laws. All this book banning, so we can still claim to be God's chosen people, sent to this continent to be a shining light on a hill. No, Christian nationalism is a perversion of the spirit of Jesus. Christian nationalists have turned woke into a bad word. Dr. Michael Piazza, a gay minister, writes a daily meditation that we receive. He defines being woke as telling the truth about slavery, segregation, and ongoing systemic racism, treating lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and other queer people as the law-abiding, tax-paying citizens they are, regarding transgender citizens as sacred children of God who have courageously fought to be who they are, believing women are perfectly capable of making decisions about their own bodies and how they create their families, valuing diversity and equality in the academic and corporate world, end quote. Doesn't sound so bad to me. I want to be woke. I appreciate woke people. When we combine a myth-based Christianity with a myth-based founding of the USA, we have quite a mess on our hands. Now, I personally love Jesus, the simple teacher of love and forgiveness and kindness. I no longer believe in Jesus Christ, the Messiah and divine King of the universe. I think the real human Jesus was a woke person. So was Martin Luther King, so are Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, President Biden, so are you folks. And so are you folks. At least the ones I know. You choose to live lives of love and justice. You help your neighbor. You vote for good leaders. You contribute to good causes. You renounce racism and prejudice. You do a lot of volunteer work for First Eat and for other good causes. During our joys and sorrows time and our services, you share about people doing good deeds, helping others, and we're inspired to have those values. I personally no longer have any religion, but I do believe in the values of love and justice, kindness and forgiveness, helping each other, respect and dignity for everyone. I need your help in living these values. I hope you can use my help too. Thank you.
Hey, Jean, would you like to announce the next song?
Yes, the next song is, I need a tambourine. A big the next song is Wende Yahoo, and this is, for those of you that don't know this song, this is a Native American Cherokee Indian song of gratitude and celebration for the morning, for the sun coming up. So, you all want to come on up here with me? And so what we're going to do is, for those of you that don't know this song, I'll sing a line, and then you will do call and response, and then you'll catch on. And, all right, so we'll do that first. Wende Yahoo,
Wende Yahoo,
Wende Yahoo,
Wende Yahoo,
Wende Yahoo, Wende Yahoo.
Wende Yahoo, Wende Yahoo.
announcements, and we'll start off east. So everybody get up as you're willing and able, and face the east. And this day moves, okay?
These are our closing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment.
Yeah.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Come next week, where you could be one of the speakers. We're going to have an open mic service. I think it'll be facilitated by Patton. These are always fun for everyone to be able to contribute to the service. So I hope to see you next Sunday.